I'm about to start pulling my K20Z3. As you can see, I have a bunch of containers ready for fluid. I gotta do transmission, coolant, and I have to do my engine oil. And then I'll start preparing the front part, get the radiator probably pulled out, get sort of just miscellaneous shenanigans out of the way so I can get the engine pulled out. But anywho, I just wanted to start this vehicle. No check engine lights, there's no knock, there's no ticking. The only thing that's wrong with the engine is there's a small crack on the block, thanks to the US cast, and it actually probably can be repaired, but at least, you know, you guys can see that fully functional. Sounds fucking great. Running good. No smoke, no nothing. 117,582 miles, 2,000 miles. Literally no smoke. I like the way this exhaust sounds. Gotta get these fucking engines prepped. That is my old. And unfortunately, I had a crack on the outside of my block. So that's the crack on the outside, right? Oh shit, right there. And that is why I will be running the K24. Still needs to be cleaned up a bit. I have to pull off this entire timing cover and degrease it. I will polish and clean the shit out of that and take off that crank. I'll be repurposing the SI crank along with the SI water pump, oil cooler components. We're using the original VTEC solenoid, which I took off right here. That's a VTEC VTC actuator, which I'll be doing. And I'll be popping this off to replace the filter simultaneously for this engine, rather. Also got the CRV mount. Waiting for my Type R oil pump. Got a K24 chain, the baffle, everything I need to do the oil pump upgrade at the same time. Luckily, the valve trim components are ultra clean. So along with that, I'm gonna have to pop off the Z3 oil sensor. So this is gonna be removed. I'm gonna put the Z3 in. I have to get this little cap out of there as well. The Z3 has an oil cooler that's also a water cooler at the same time. So it essentially helps regulate oil and coolant temperatures to be as close to, you know, peak performance as possible. Kind of like how SRT4 does it. Everything looks pretty great on this engine. It's actually really clean, even though it's like literally dirty. What I mean by clean is a well-managed, well-sorted engine. It's it still looks like it's going to yield a lot of years. So once I get all that cleaned up, we get all the gaskets sorted. This thing will look like it's brand fucking new, basically. So poop, bro. This crank, well, I got 2 of these to do. Look at these cheater bars I'm using. Okay, look at that. Crazy, crazy cheater bars. I have the engine lift. Hold the engine. Oh god. It's gonna break. It's gonna break. It's gonna break. It's gonna break. Oh my god. No way, bro. No way. There's no fucking way. Got all my SI parts prepped. Here's my intake manifold, fuel stuff, engine mounts, half shaft AC bracket. Bay's pretty much prepped. Cleaned all my tools and my floor a bunch of times. Here's my block. All timing components that are pulled off. I won't be using much of this. This bolt will plug the bottom. We'll get to that point in a little bit. So I got a bunch of OE parts, tensioner, timing belt, did RRC with a pre-cut oil pump. Revs out slightly better than a Type S, so I don't have to do any modifications to the Type S as well. And the actual the pickup sits much lower in the Z3 pan. So more gaskets. I'm still waiting on a new VTC, 50-degree VTC, because I'm choosing to install a new one as opposed to, I went with RC 410s, as opposed to using my stock inside that K20Z3. I gotta return this. It's nothing that's needed. These are all the prepped parts. Everything looks pretty decent. It's pretty damn clean. Spent a lot of time. I also got my clutch coming. Just an Exedy replacement that'll be perfect for 250 pounds of torque, 250 horsepower. So I don't think I need to get that. I'll probably just slightly, very, very slightly sand it in the crosshatch pattern. Transmission's nice and clean. So all we have left to do is the fun stuff. Like, legitimately, like, this is my favorite fun part. I've watched a million videos. I've built a million engines in my life. That's obviously exaggerating, but I'm very comfortable mechanically when it comes to engine disassembly and general torque specs. It's not something that I'm afraid of. Also, so timing the K24 is super easy. So there's a little dot right there. And you have another little etch groove right here. So when I get the 50-degree VTC, I'll essentially install it. I'll use a crescent wrench for, there's like a little groove right here for sprocket, you can see. And I'll just set it to 80 pounds, I think it's like 88 pounds of torque, something like that. Pretty simple, not too hard to do. People like to buy the pins so you don't get out of time, but like, bro, it's really easy to do this. Also, you can use an Allen wrench. I'm bare broken down. I made this really simple on myself. I'm going to repurpose the guides for the timing chain. That's not really that huge, and like they barely are worn in, like barely broken in. These are like perfect. So I'm gonna repurpose that. I'm gonna repurpose not the K24 top guide. I actually got to pull that off of my K20Z3. I'm gonna use the Z3 actual guide. Be right back. I gotta go pull that off. Just realized.